Hello, everyone. Welcome to AI Amigos Show. As you can see, it's just me and Jin Shao today. Hey, Jin Shao.
Yeah. Hello.
Marina's not here today. She is in Argentina, so she was not able to, but she'll be back next week. For those that may be wondering where Marina is. So another busy
Yeah.
week in AI, right, Jin Shao? A lot of developments, a lot of stuff coming out.
Yeah, definitely. I know you did try a lot of stuff, and then there's specifically Firebase. You loved it, and yeah, let's chat
Yeah.
about that.
Well, it seems like Google is kind of, as Marina says, they're on fire. They're
Yeah.
definitely have a lot of products they're rolling out, and then there was that Google.io, which they're doing some kind of I think it's some kind of event they're doing. But yeah, they're really rolling out a lot of products,
Mm.
and so today wanted to just go through just kind of an exercise with Firebase. Does it make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? You
Yeah.
excited about that, Jinsha?
Woohoo! You
So,
showed me twice already now, so I wasn't
yeah,
as exciting as the first time. But yeah,
yeah,
there's
no,
cool
you know,
stuff there for sure.
yeah, it's definitely we're gonna have a good time doing this. So, let me just share my screen there, and let me
Yeah.
just let's see here, share screen, and I'm gonna okay, so we're gonna share this one here. Okay, so I should be sharing this screen. Okay, so Firebase Studio. Let's go into a Firebase Studio first. Um, as you guys know, just log into Firebase here. I'm using the AI Amigos show to do this, and I've done a sales vision dashboard. So what I've done to make this work is I went on to Kaggle and I looked at just different data sets. But I got this one retail store transactions data set. It's a public data set, so it's got like date and sale of transaction, customer
Hmm.
ID, transaction, so on, quantity sold. And it's not a big data set, 6 megabytes. Um, and so I have this data set that we're going to use today. Okay, so you can use any data set. It was just an example one. And so I downloaded this data set and then I had to convert it into a file so it's easier for the AI to read. Okay. And so I did that, and so we'll come over here. So I didn't do the data set yet, so I'll just show here, just say here, I have a company sales data, such as
Hmm.
date, customer ID, everything we read, SKU, category, SKU.
Sorry, James. Just one second. I tried to make it a bit bigger. Let me try a
Yeah.
different layout. Would
What
that
about
be all
this?
right? This would be better, right? This
Yeah.
is way bigger now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I put in this here, customer ID, SKU, quantity, sales amount, dashboard. Thanks for letting me know. There's something there. Just let me know. And so metrics on data, top plots, so on. So it says, okay, I have a plan here for you to prototype, and I'll move this over. And it just says, metric summary, display key metrics, trend chart, category performance. So this is all the AI generated this bit from the prompt that I entered here. It says, I also want a panel where I can interact with the data and create a sample data set as JSON file, which is what I said to make it easier, in a folder called data. And so sales vision dashboard, and it just asked me here, sales metrics, so sales, average order, so on, trend chart of sales over time, category performance, interactive data panels. Then you can generate insights. Use LLM to evaluate the data set and reason what correlations might exist, external economic indicators. Now, it's saying it's finding economic indicators, but there's no economic indicator input here. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
And then these are the colors it generated. I can ask it to make different colors. I left the colors, the layout, responsive layout to ensure the dashboard is accessible across various devices. Typography, clear and legible typography. Iconography, simple and intuitive icons represent data categories. Animation, smooth transition, loaded animation. So The stack is going to be AI. It's going to be GenKit and Gemini. So you can see here. And then the user interface is going to be TypeScript, Next.js, Tailwind, CSS. So once I was happy with all of that, and with this, you can go in here and type and say, no, I want this, I want that, and change everything that's recommended here. So you just don't have to take what it's telling you here. You can go and you can say, change this or change that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Any questions there, Jinshao? Is that straightforward enough? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's straightforward enough, but just a little bit context for the people out there who doesn't understand this. What is Firebase is, it's there. You probably heard a term called vibe coding, vibe coding, VIBE, vibe coding. This is vibe coding. This is basically a natural language to the Gen AI, so it can provide a working model for you. And then we see the tools like Cursor, Lovable, all that sort of stuff can do that. But what Google Firebase is, what is good now, I think there's a couple other tools out there similar to this, but this give you kind of sandbox environment. It created straight for you, right in front of you, and you can do it live, interactively, right? So I think this is just context for our listeners out there.
Yeah, and I think one of the main things, the big aha moments for me working with this is a prototype. So it's not a full app as such, but you can prototype and you can do like prototypes very quickly. And I guess the step that I should have mentioned as well, or should mention, is that this all here went into here. And then you do, and then from there you hit your enter and it will. So I can see you can do some attachments there. So I'm sure you can add, okay, so if you, that's interesting here, images. So the app that generates poems from photos, app that helps me play my day. I wonder if you do like, if you see a dashboard somewhere, this is an interesting question, right? And you put that image in there and say, make me a dashboard like this, you know?
Yeah, I think it would do that. Do you know why? Because I know on TikTok or anybody with AI vibe coding currently now, they use a tool called copy coder. So what copy coder is, you screenshot the website you like, right? Okay, this is my competitor's website. I really liked it, and then you grab that screenshot, right? You grab that screenshot, you put in the copy coder, and then it gives you exactly the prompt how to create that. So when you have the prompt, you put into a tool, any instruction tool like Cursor or Lovable, it can create that thing. So what Firebase Studio doing here, I think, is more integrated, right? It integrated everything. We definitely should try the image. Let's see any our any our listeners suggest any cool website we could try to steal the ideas.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Well, I mean, you can see that, and then it created the one I'm in, and you can see like, you know, you can do Git repo, you can see Go, Python, Flask, Java. They have quite a few different things that you can use here. Now it only uses the Gemini API key at the moment, but you know, so then you can download this code and do something else with the code, right? So you know, like host it on your own server, or run it, you know. I see here I can publish it here and run it on the Google server, but you know, then I start running into costs and fees and things like that. So
yeah, that's the other thing as well. It's really good because you could literally start to running it. This is the big benefit of this cloud provider when they provided some Gen AI tools. They integrated more into that kind of ecosystem. You can publish on the Google. I would say maybe later on you go into the Google, you can give a domain name, you can do all that sort of stuff. You basically have a running website, a simple one, but it's running.
Well, this costs nothing to do from what I've done so far. But if you want to if you publish it, I signed up, and if you sign up with Google, they give you $300 worth of cloud credits. So that's why they want you to put your website on there, and then once they have that, you $300. And you know as well as I do, when it comes to cloud, you can spend $300 fairly. It seems like a lot, but you can spend it really fast. So.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so this is how it spun this up and gave me the colors and everything, and then it's basically I didn't prototype here because it takes a while, and so as you can see, it created all of this for me in TSX language, and so everything is in there. And you got one called sales data JSON. There's my data, global CSS, and basically one thing that you do need to do is then generate a Gemini API key. If you don't have one, it's kind of tricky when you start doing this, Jinshao, is you run it and then you wait for a bit and then it gives you an error and you're like, oh, an error. But the error is like, oh, you need a key. So I click there, generate one, or you can go if you know how to go into the back end, use go into Google Console and generate an API key there. But
I think that run into last week the girl coming out from Google Ambassador.
Yeah.
She mentioned the AI Studio. You could generate your key there. So just for our audience, you can go in there and generate a key and put in here.
So I'm going to zoom back out simply so that you can see. So this is what it generated for me. Okay.
Isn't that cool?
It is, right? So, I mean, that did it here, category performance. Now, this is all fake data that it generated, right? And then you can see like generate insights and like, you can see it's giving you stuff on the data itself. So let me zoom into that. How can I zoom into that one there?
It's not fake data. It's my business want to be. I'm generating 5,000 a day.
Yeah. So based on the provided sales data, appears to be recurrent interest in electronics, particularly laptops and phones. So these products can be key products. So again, it's generated something that's completely fake, right? Frequent buyer across different categories, the external factors are influence sales. So it gives you just this whole thing. Now this, I'm not going to go any further because it's, like I said, it's fake. I'm going to go back to 100. So there it is. There's that first dashboard up. So up here in the top right hand corner where you see the publish, and then you have your there's this switch to code. So we'll switch to the code, and then we can see the code, right? And so as soon as it all takes a while to come into here, but you'll see here, this looks like it's a proper IDE, right? You see on the left, you got your folders there, where you can also source control, run and debug extensions, Firebase Studio. And then on the right, you can see the website, and then you can go into Gemini here, and you can, what's really cool about the Gemini here is that you can ask questions of what's in the code. You see what I'm saying? So it works really good in that respect, because, sometimes when you're working with AI, you ask it questions, and the questions you ask it doesn't know because it doesn't have the context. Where here it has.
So it kind of like a cursor. I'm wondering when you put in the at, the email sign at into the chat, you direct them to read something. Let's say, can you read? Okay, cool. It's kind of like cursor. So if you type in read me, it will just read me, I think.
At read me.
Oh, it might need it to have that cap sign or something.
Let's see what it does. Oh, I see, like uppercase. Yeah, let's see what it does.
Uppercase. Yeah.
Here are the MD files in your project. Okay, so it does read it.
Yeah. So it kind of like it kind of like a cursor as well. The cursor can add code base. You can read the whole code base, or you search in some file or something like that to just kind of saving the token, kind of return quicker and all that sort of stuff. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it makes life very, very easy here so far. So I'm going to come down to my source, and then I'm going to go into my data, and here's my data, and you can see it's a JSON file, and this is my sample fake data. So I created, like I mentioned already, a JSON sales data from the Kaggle website, and so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring that into here. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I got the wrong. Oh, I see why. I got the wrong one. Let's see here. Okay. So I called mine over here sample data. Let me just copy this and duplicate it. That's why I did it wrong. Let's see here. And let me just rename it to sales data. And let me properties, sales hyphen data. Okay. And that's an important thing, is that you make it the same. So I'll close that file out because it's reading that file, right? So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put that in there. I want to replace that one. I'm going to delete this one here. Okay. And I'm going to permanently delete and there's my sales data. Right now, this sales data is the data I downloaded from Kaggle. Okay. So that's all good. Now I could go and commit. I'm not going to do that right now because I noticed that when I commit or do anything in the IDE here, it takes a long time, especially when like the US comes on. It takes a long time. So I don't want to extend this longer, if you know, meaning like we're going to be here doing nothing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over to my code or to my dash in here, and you'll see now it's going to change. So you can see it doesn't, let's see here. So I'll just say update the code based on sales data. Okay. Didn't give me this error last time, by the way, but I think what I did last time, I know what I did is I took the JSON that was there, and then I put that into my Jupyter notebook that I was using there, and then use that as a template to create my new data, if that makes sense. So let's see here if it basically updates correctly here. So that's an important point here, because if it's not the same, so here we go. So you can see it's straight away, it's starting to go in there, and it's changing the code. Isn't that cool? Look at that. It's just going and changing the code for me to work with my data structure that I have there, which is that JSON. Checking for errors. Let's take a look and see. And voila. Now my data has been filled out.
Yeah, so, this is the business I want it to be.
You want this business, do you, Jinsha? Yeah. Look at the sales.
Better. It's better.
Yeah. So now that I've done that, so let's see here. So we can generate insights here. Okay. So what I want to do is, let's see here. I've got my other one on this screen over here. So I'm looking. I got you over here, Jinsha, on this screen. What I'm sharing here on this screen, and then over here I'm looking to making changes. Okay. So what I'm going to ask it here, I'm going to put here. Let's see here. So I want to tab on the left-hand panel. So let me just zoom in so you can see. So I want to tab on the left-hand panel where I can ask the AI question. Where I can ask the AI questions of the data, right? So put that in. So basically what that's going to do for me, Jinsha, is that I'll be able to ask questions of the data. So let me zoom out. And so I can ask, I went too far. So not only does this generate, like, let's say, insights, for example, it could maybe be insights in regards to the data itself. I think I'm looking at this here. I wonder if this is correct data here.
That's a piece needed to verify once.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the quantity sold and things like that. I think it went and overwrote my data to make it fit with this data, if that makes sense. That's okay. I'm not gonna mess with that at the moment. You get the idea of what needs to be done.
Yeah, this is just a high level, right? It can create something in your mind pretty quickly, and when the thing is running now, like I haven't used Firebase before, but I do use Cursor quite a lot. What I see in those kind of tools, there's a two kind of trick point. Like we talk about this, James. The first thing is like you have to create it. You have to, if you wanted to create a complex software, you have to think about each of the step. You have to know every step of the way.
Yeah.
To create that great prompt. So sometimes it's better off to have a Gen AI on the side, ChatGPT or Gemini, whatever, to give them an idea, ask them to create a prompt. That way, it's a lot quicker. And I created, my fortune telling app. A lot of them are from this kind of tool in Cursor. So what I made a mistake at the first is I forgot to tell him to handle sessions. So this is the general thing in software, right? So what happened is if you don't have sessions, I'm coming on, I'm the one, and someone coming on can see my stuff as well. So when you click on submit, it submit for that other guy as well. So this is a common thing to thinking about. And then implement any other third-party tool if you don't have that initial kind of architect or prompt you made, it will be hard to implement because everything is made for that. I think this kind of tool doesn't have you have to put in the prompt to make it like kind of modular, and then later on you can add on those kind of thing inside. Just try and error, to be honest. Try and error. This is a new thing.
Well, equally as you're saying there, Jinshaw, is you need to know that process because you can find yourself, lost in the process, right?
Yeah. So like for me, it's not even one go. To the point I was so frustrated. I even changed some code myself manually. It was faster than it.
I do find that there's times you have to do that.
Yeah. So I changed the whole thing. I just delete the whole thing, ask to recreate it again, and that this time I know what I need to add it in, what is critical, has to thinking about, and I came back better. So it's definitely kind of area I know Marina is not great with. It's a kind of area you have to know this kind of like not prompt engineering, not like, oh, you are AI assistant, give me writing some poem, some poem better or something. It's not like that. It's like you have to have system knowledge. You have to have a software development knowledge to put it in to generate that kind of, So yes, prompt engineering is elevated.
Yeah, well, you do because you could spend a lot of time putting in stuff and then going and changing it, and I do notice that when you talk about AI training models, I do find that myself, and I'm sure you're finding this for yourself, and sounds that you're getting trained because it's like, oh no, I worded like this way and I word it this way, I'll get what I want, and it's the old garbage in, garbage out. So if you want a good output, a good input, but that's training you how to put those inputs in to get what you want. You know what I mean? So there you go. We have a button or a tab open here. Ask, so you can say, tell me a story about my data. Let's see what it says. It gave me a story and then it took it away. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's ask it. So what kind of questions can I ask of my data?
I'm playing hide and seek quickly.
Yes. Question: sales trends by day, customer behavior. So what is my what product is my bestseller? See what it says here. Best-selling product from provided data. I do not have aggregated sales. Okay. Who is my best customer? How about that? Who is my best customer? And I will say, it is the old adage of the better data you get into it, the better outputs you'll get. So it needs to be structured in the way that the AI can read it. Because if it's not, just forget about it. And that takes some time to do that, right? Even here, like we see, generate insights. There doesn't appear to be a strong correlation between. So we read that earlier. But let's do now, so we got 2 plots here. And what's really cool is you can say, okay, on the sales trend and category performance plots. Hold on a second. I'm going to put here, 1 second. Put, give me the AI powered insights on top of the plot. Let's see what it does. It's thinking.
No, I think this like you touched on the very important point about the data, right? Because from a AI standpoint of view, right now is the smarter the model is to understand basically just read through all your data, trying to understand it. But we talk about this. You can actually, if you code this on the ground up, thinking about the AI system, we can have an orchestrator AI, and we can have a planning agent, and give them the ability to just thinking about the data, because all this app is doing now, the AI, is ask one agent, right, to do the whole lot.
The whole
Maybe
thing,
it's
yeah.
not, maybe it's not the best. And then the other point is like we talk about this to build something actually to store all the data, because the context window can only load, it depends on the context window. You load all the data if the data fits in. If the overflow the data, you need somewhere to store it. Maybe there's some place to store it first or something like that, and to sort out the data first before you go into the AI agent. But yeah,
so there we go.
This is first step is really cool.
And there we go. So there you go. Yeah. So it gives you there's some insights. So it's not just showing you, like a bar chart, a horizontal bar plot there. It's giving you some insights, and which is good, right? Because so you can see clothing exhibits the highest performance. Okay, yeah, we saw that.
Yeah.
Home goods demonstrate lowest performance, which we saw that. Books, sports, and electronics show relatively similar performance values ranging from. So okay, so it's giving me some insight. Maybe not the best insights, but this was a very quick spin up of something that just to show what it can do. And as you were saying there, the data, it's really important to get the data in the structure that the AI can read it very easily. And that I use that same data set, and I'll show you here. So between that one and this one, same data set, right? And so hold on a second, why is that highlighted like that?
I was just thinking about, when you're doing this, I was just thinking about, like, if someone has using Microsoft Excel to do the database, they have thousands and thousands of lines of the items. You're better thinking about a different way to put that in.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. Well, what do you mean? Hold on a second. I'm trying to think.
But I mean, like, the size of it, it has to really thinking about how big the content is to load. Maybe it doesn't load the whole thing. I have to verify. No, I'm just thinking ahead about those kind of apps.
Oh, okay.
That's just what I do.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is when you were talking earlier about the data, like getting the data from let's say wherever you have it, an organization has their data. Well, where do they store the data? And I remember when I was at university, everyone always argued that Excel is not a database, but a lot of companies store all their data in an Excel spreadsheet, right?
Yeah, correct.
It's cheaper than building a database. But when you have a database, how are you going to extract the data in the most efficient way? How are you going to store the data? And how are you going to put the data in here? And like if you do, let's say, calculations and different parts of the data that would go into here, that would make this run much faster. So there's a whole process behind this. But what this does is this gives you some really quick ideas to get some of these going. And as well as like, like I think you would agree as well, Jinxiao, from a point of view of that, a transformer, which is basically an LLM, right, is a very big tool to use for small amounts of data, which maybe you could use a very simple linear regression, or you could do a classification, machine learning models that would run more efficiently, very quickly, doesn't take up any resources, doesn't take a lot to train as well. So, but nonetheless, like I was saying, this is working, and you can see how long this is taking here.
That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. Basically, like using the right tool for the right job, right? You're talking about some tool maybe more efficient. What this does here, the wow factor is like we're using the cannon to kill a mosquito, basically, right? That's the terms in Chinese. But it has this good point. Basically, it can show you maybe some. Oh, I like this graph. It actually find this. Okay, when I develop the system, I wanted to focus on this graph for our customers. Oh, this is sales trend. Oh, this is interesting. I can do this. It doesn't really matter about did you load the data in all together or something, but it has given you the visual and the idea. I think that's most important here, right?
Yeah. Well, that's it, and see like how you want to look and prototype. Well, that's why it's a prototype, right? And and the thing about like large language models, they're not deterministic; they're probabilistic, meaning that and this is why like I put in the same prompt and got a different result. So if you look here, I'll just go back here. If you look at that one, and then you look at this one, so you see. And let's just go back to the other. So same prompt, got different looking. Total revenue, total sales.
Yeah.
Well, there's an average order, top selling product. So then here generated tabs on the left. This one didn't. So very very different. And then see, I asked it here to put in the insights there. So in April and. If you look at those insights, like it's not a huge insight. Like, oh yeah, April's the largest. Yeah, well I can see that I have eyes, right? And December was the lowest. Yeah, okay, I can see that. But I would like a little bit more insight, and that's very basic. And here you can see you can interact with the data. And they gave me like the reports, which I think I put in the reports like something where I can print it out. And then you have the AI chat here. Same thing as far as like, you got the code in the background, the data that's going in, get the idea up and going, and away you go.
Yeah. And then I think the other good point of this is even the system is not fully like customer ready, or it's not what you want it to be bulletproof. But the good point is like any coder can code the background and no problem. The CSS file, the front end is done for you. It's done. Do you know what I mean? So that's the hardest bit. I remember the days I was coding in Java. This is back the days. You added the CSS file. It was like, why this box is smaller? I don't want it to line like that and all that. And then later on, the bubbles and all that kind of drag and drop comes in now. Now this is a different level now, right? It's totally different level. It's just created for you.
It makes your life easier. It can run very quickly. You can develop and develop things, and that's where we're seeing like with AI that you can get something like if you look at you have the tools to help you to do more. And if you think about it, you had, like, say for example, used to, if you wanted to cut wood, you needed an axe or a saw, and you used to do it that way. And then we came chainsaws, and then they came machines that have. So it's like the development there. We're seeing the development here in software in the same method. Whereas you said, you had to put it manually, and you had to get the points right and the padding and all this stuff in CSS and that kind of stuff. It drives me nuts. And then you had the boxes and drop them in. But now you have AI that goes and does it for you, and then you go and just make some adjustments. But what I liked about that Firebase is that rather than you telling it what to do, you describe what changes. So you say, oh, in that histogram, change the color, and it'll change the color for you. Do you see? Now you know as well as I do. Like you can go back to the back end of the code, you can just very easily change color. It's not a big thing, but definitely makes life easier.
Yeah, for sure. And I like the other thing I like about it is you can steal people's idea. You can upload the image.
Back to where we started.
You should totally try that. Yeah. I want to build something like Google and name it Goggle and put it up there.
Or Lugal. I don't know if you saw that movie.
Lugal. Yeah. This comes back to the other thing. I feel like when I use those kind of, if you ask the ChatGPT, or I would say ChatGPT, any Gen AI models, Claude or Gemini or DeepSeek, ask them to provide you architecture from the top to the bottom as detailed as possible. I always do that, but I still think not everyone can do that. The reason is because we know the model is kind of biased. It's not really challenge you per se. So sometimes the security or the stuff they implement sounds like the right one, but if you don't have the knowledge, it won't be the right one.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I find sometimes you're going through that, and I said, no, I don't want this. I want to use it. Sometimes give me, I use HTTP request to request OpenAI. So I don't know, OpenAI has a package, or let me use LangChain. It will change that. But during the process, when they give you the prompt, it give you the reason, all that sort of stuff. But if you don't have the knowledge, and you wouldn't know. But it sounds like it's a perfect one for you. That's one point, right? So it's still go back to the stuff people worry about AI gonna replace your job, and especially coders and all that. No, I don't think so. I think like the analogy you used before is like you use axe to chop wood. Now it's like you have to know to tell the AI to use axe to chop wood. If you don't know how to ask him to use the axe, it might use a knife. Do you know what I mean? So that's the thing.
Still use scissors.
Yeah, there you go. Use the teeth.
Well, I mean, we just saw the headline last week of Microsoft laid off 6,000. I think it was 3% of their workforce.
Yeah,
6,000 employees because of AI. So they're saying 30%. I think it was 30% of their code now is being generated by AI. But I think a lot of people get afraid with that headline because it's like, oh, software developers are losing their job, which they are. But if you think about it, the AI is integrated into their software, and how many people have that? So like here we're talking about, like, does it know the context? So if you say, I want to change this and this file to this, right? Like let's say a color, and say, okay, I want to change this, or I want to change whatever you want to change, or drop down menu or whatever. It doesn't connect everything that connects, and you might change that, and then you've done this before, like, oh, I just changed this one thing, you change it, and then the whole thing falls apart. Why? Because this one thing has to be a certain way, where the AI doesn't know that context. But if you have it built into your system, like, for example, Meta has theirs built into their software as well, and they're saying by end of year, I think they're saying 90% of their code is going to be generated by AI. But these are large corporations. The average SME is not going to have that kind of stuff.
No.
And so moving into those areas.
Yeah, I do see that happening because the context of prompt getting bigger and bigger, and then the ability of the Gen AI can think about it as well, really slowly, deeply, and with the multiple kind of multi-agent system. You have a planning agent, thinking agent, and an execution or writing the code, all different levels. It can kind of dissect the problem to be a lot smaller, to be more accurate. Yeah. And this is what we talk about. Remember about your Firebase asset. The experiences that I have is every step of the way, ask him to update his action, Gen AI's action, into README. So next time when you pick it back up, if you don't have the file, it's blank page for Gen AI. So when you say change this, it's just searching everything. I maybe find it, but I forgot it connects to that. So once you have that kind of instruction, what I did from the very beginning to very end, where I am now. When he read it straight away, oh, I understand the code now. You set up this, this, and this, and that. I need to change this. This is the file I'll go into. So it will be a lot quicker. This is my pain for like 2 weeks. try to do that in Cursor, and then finally understand it. You have to think different way now. Yeah, but
Yeah,
back
but
to
you're
the.
being trained. You're being trained by the AI.
I know. So yeah, maybe I should start training AI a little bit, not training me all the time.
Good idea.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, maybe your personality might change in show. You never know.
I know.
No,
I
you,
know.
you sound
Maybe
the
I
same.
speak more language.
You look the same to me. You're fine.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny thing. Yesterday, I was testing something. Right, I was testing something. This is totally unrelated. Back the day, me and my daughter, I teach her encryption. I said
Okay.
you can send an encryption message with your friends. How the basic encryption works. We have a pen and paper and draw the algorithm. How does that? You need a code. You can transcribe, right? So I tried this with the AI. I said, develop your own language. So when I have a different session, when I put it back this language inside Gen AI, you will give me the decrypted message. It has to be the same, right? Because in a session, it knows what you put it in there. It doesn't matter about decrypt or not decrypt, right? So I say, okay. So it give me those rearranged, the characters all rearranged. Very funny one. But I opened another session with him, and I says, okay, this is what you did before. Can you tell me? This is your own language, and then can you tell me what I said in English? Totally rubbish. So you can't really do that. But I thought it might have some kind of, something in there. I was just trying to see what's going on. But maybe my prompt isn't right. So yeah.
Well, I was wondering, like, what did you call the language? And you know, and
Yeah. You can try it out.
words.
And
Give us a
just
few words
sounds,
in your language. You know.
yeah. Just something just comes to me. I say, oh, okay, let's try something fun. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely is fun when you have some random idea. You're like, oh, I wonder about this or that. And you go, oh, I wonder what ChatGPT thinks about that. And you just put it in there. And I like it because it's kind of like, you get probabilistic, as I mentioned, answers before. So it gives you some, maybe if you need like advice on something or
Yeah.
something, so not advice, something you're thinking about and you want a sounding board. You just want to bounce someone off it and say, what do you think about this? So like I was talking to it about, have you noticed like they now no longer call it global warming. Now it's called climate change. So
Yeah.
I asked the question, why is it called climate change? Why is it called, why isn't it called global warming? And then it said, so it because of it, climate change is not just warming. It includes, more storms and droughts and forest fires. I'm like, oh, okay. And then you start asking questions, and then it says, oh, that's a very good way of thinking of it, and asking. But it's the same thing like what you were talking about the code. You know how things need to be done in the code, and you'll see something go like, no, not that way. Do it this. Oh, well spotted. Very insightful. It says to you, but if someone who doesn't know, it's just going to give the wrong thing and not do the right thing at all.
Yeah, definitely. You will ask, it will tell you. I know Google Gemini was saying, oh yeah, you nailed the what you call it, the hit the nail in the head or something.
Yeah, you hit
That's
the nail on the
that's excellent or something. It was saying that, yeah, we should do that. I said, come on, I'm asking you to do work for
Come
me.
on, yeah, come on.
Yeah.
I'm not paying for nothing.
Yeah, but you don't know. It might steal my information, right? It learns it from you. So yeah,
Well,
maybe we
you
should.
want to be nice to it because when they take over, you're going to be the first one on the list. All right, so.
Yeah, but I've been trained already, right? So.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, we've come up
That's
to 45 minutes here. So thanks for joining us, everyone. If you have any questions, please let us know. Subscribe to our channel. Give us any questions that you may have. If there's any other software out there that you're looking at or new AI platforms, let us know, and we can explore it together. So thanks,
Yeah,
Inchao.
leave the
Great,
comments.
great conversation as always.
Definitely. See you guys later.
See you guys.